Listen, Hearthstone, stick to Hearthstone, okay? Listen, stick to playing Mage or whatever the other champions are. You're just 2D Andy. That's what you are. Forsen. Okay.
StarCraft is quite the complicated game.
Well, I mean, it's StarCraft. Who the hell plays StarCraft? Are you 50 years old? Are you Hikamaru's age? No.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Come on. Wait, how old are you? I don't know. How old are you?
I'm 29.
Wow, that's shocking. That is absolutely.
How old are you, Sliker?
No, I just turned 22 yesterday.
22?
Yeah.
Then why are you so fucking bad at games when you have zoomer reactions? I don't get it. What's your
Zoomer? Oh my god, this guy said zoomer. Hey, Azmal. Look who's talking. Look at the timer. Co-casters, please show us the timer. How long you took him each move? You took 3 minutes.
I just said zoomer reactions. I have fucking boomer reactions. You're proving my point.
I forgot about it. Bro, in my vocabulary, I don't have boomer, no zoomer, no kuma, okay? I don't talk like that. But, I mean, zoomer means fast, right, boys?
Yeah. It does.
Yeah, so that's good. I have fast reaction.
Good. You still lost. How the fuck do you still lose?
Chess is a game where, look, there's a timer, okay? Let me give you an example. In Hearthstone, there's a timer. It goes every time. When you move an opponent, you wait, and you wait it till the last minute when time is ticking. Remember when she says that? And that's when you move. Me, in chess, you have time. You take all your sufficient time to find out what to do next. I don't do that. I ain't got no time after that. Sarah, Fatma's waiting outside. I ain't got time for that.
Clearly.
Okay, so we'll look at the game between NymN and xChocobars. Okay, so e4, c5, bishop c4 played by NymN. Now I'm gonna reset this. I'm gonna look at this from the black point of view because I actually, as you guys know, I gave Janet a lesson last night, and I was expecting NymN to play d4 on move 1. Thank you to Brandon Evans for the prime. Donald Trump wants to play chess with you. Even if that were real, I mean, I would have literally zero interest in ever doing that. Although I will add you guys on that note, not to be political or anything, but I did talk to some of my sources, and apparently Joe Biden does actually play chess on his phone. So even if he's probably not any good at chess, apparently Joe Biden does actually, even if it's probably quite bad, does play chess on his phone. Thank you to High Society 6 for the 4 months. Thank you to Kevin Targaryen for the tier 1. Thank you so much. But anyway, so bishop c4, so e6 was played. Now let's back up a step. So as I was saying, you guys, last night I was helping Janet. I was expecting NymN to play d4, and instead he played e4. I think he probably had an idea to change it up a little bit. Yeah, have Joe Biden on stream. Yeah, but I mean the you know, since everybody thinks I'm like liberal or, you know, not liberal, like, I mean the guy's team could not even figure out how to set up a Zoom call properly. So I'm a little bit skeptical that I could ever do a collaboration, even if he did play chess. Okay, so all right, so e4, c5, bishop c4, e6 played here. And basically the reason that I'm talking about last night helping Janet was I prepped her for d4, and then after I stopped my stream, probably like 15 minutes later, the big, I think he's a league streamer, I Will Dominate You, he played her a couple of games, and he actually, I think, made a checkmate in 6 moves, because what happened was I think the game went something like this, this, and something like g6, g5, knight d7, queen f7, and basically she lost the game in 7 moves. So she lost this game in 7 moves, and so I ended up hopping on a Discord call with her to try and help her out, because obviously after what happened to Felix yesterday, I mean, everybody's really worried about losing a game in a couple of moves. So I hopped on, and I told her basically that if NymN were to play an opening like this, that the way to prevent this would be to push the pawn, cut off the diagonal, and they're no longer checkmates, which she did, by the way. But unfortunately, after knight f3, she forgot. Like when I give lessons, I try to give basic concepts of what happens, and so here, what I told her to play was, I told her to play here. Now I'm going to take full blame for her loss today, because I realized during the game that I overloaded her with a little bit too much. Because one thing that I told most of the streamers very often to do is to develop the piece on the king side and get the king out of the center of the board. And as I realized today, the problem with what I told her was I told her to move this knight first and then push the pawn. And I should have given her a more straightforward idea to push the pawn here to prevent this, and then finish the development on one side and ignore everything on this side, and then bring it into the board later. So I kind of realized during the game that I should have actually I should have told her to do this. Unfortunately, what I told her was to play this knight out first, and then push the pawn, and then bring the knight. A little bit too confusing, and unfortunately, it led to a very bad position right away. So knight here, knight c3 was played. Why do I coach wrong? Well, again, you guys, I'm trying to coach, but it's very hard. Like, you can't do everything perfectly. And I realized today during the game that it was like, that I should have given her a more simplistic plan of pushing this pawn, bringing this knight, this bishop and king, and keeping it really, really simple. But yeah, you can't cover every scenario, but it's too much. Like, it's a little bit too much. That's 2 people now, yes, but I also got 2 people, 2 very nice wins, to be fair. So it happens. Telling Ludwig to use the Latvian gambit. Yeah. You know, I'm not gonna leak the combo, but I'll pull it up one more time, you guys, just to be very clear. Okay, to be very clear, Ludwig wrote to me. What did he write to me? He wrote to me yesterday at 2:54 a.m. Eastern time. Hey, are you free at all tomorrow morning? No problem if not. My reply yesterday at 10:47 a.m. Eastern time. I don't have time, but here's my recommendation. Papa Plata is relatively new to the game, and he will go 1e4. So I'd recommend something slightly unorthodox to confuse him, such as 1e4 d5, the Scandinavian defense, or 1e4 c5, the Sicilian defense. Now, you can take it for what it is. In no way does that mean play e4 e5, knight f3 f5, and play the Latvian gambit. So in no way does it mean that. All right, you guys. Let's keep going. Chat, I'm joking. No, Ludwig is just a genius. I really like the dude. He was playing up the joke. Ludwig is so 5-head that I'm sure Ludwig actually went and saw that I showed forsen to play the Latvian gambit, and he thought, ha, I'm being really cute. I'm being really, really clever. So yeah, but definitely Ludwig is a really cool guy. Big fan of Ludwig, and I like his sense of humor. He's got a great sense of humor. What a cool dude. All right, so let's keep going. So knight f3. Knight f6 here. Janet played this. Now NymN played knight c3, giving Janet another opportunity to push this pawn and prevent the pawn push, which harasses the knight. Unfortunately here she played g6, and now NymN plays d4, and she played b6, just getting very confused by the sort of the ideas that NymN was playing. It already was a very tough position. So b6, e5, knight to g8 here, bishop g5. Janet plays f6, trade, queen e2, bishop g7, trying to finish the development. White castles. And now here d5 was played by NymN, and at this point the position becomes very unpleasant. White is lacking development here, and NymN has really put all his pieces on the ideal squares. Bishops, there's a pin here, the bishop is targeting the king, he controls the center, knights are developed, king is out of the center of the board. Really good start by NymN. Fantastic stuff. So rook e8 takes, king d takes e6. Thank you to Iniway for the 3 months. Appreciate it. Thank you to Far From Logic for the Prime. And thank you to Noble15 for the 2 months. Thank you to all you guys for all the love and support. You're amazing. Thank you. So now rook takes d8 was played. And again, at this point, it's a very tough position here. The only move that keeps you in the game is moving the king to h8 to get out of this like pin. But it's already very hard to play. And so d takes e6 is a logical move. And unfortunately, now the queen goes off the board. NymN takes on e6. King f8 is played. They trade. Whoa, thank you to G-Funks for the 5 gifted. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Now, NymN takes. He goes knight d5. Very clean play from NymN. Actually, let me rotate it. We want to look winner's POV. Very clean game from NymN. Brings the knight to the center, attacking the pawn. Really just fantastic play here. Bishop g7. Rook e1. You said that earlier that NymN played solid, but the moves were more obvious than for forsen. Is that on Chocobars, or his moves were just a little bit less good? I guess the moves for NymN were just as good, but they were more obvious. They were more intuitive. It was much more straightforward because he had a winning position. So like a move like knight to d5 is let me give you an example. So this sort of move, it's very logical, very intuitive, and then you want to take the file. Like these are moves that are very good and very classically sound, but they're moves that you should spot. Whereas, for example, the moves that forsen found, they were not obvious at all. They were very good moves, but they were not obvious. They were not intuitive, and I think they were a little bit more advanced. But both moves are equally good. Okay, so now here NymN goes rook to e1. Knight d7, check, king g8. Why didn't I show queen c7 after knight c6? After which knight c6? I don't know what you mean by that exactly. So queen d7, rook f8. NymN plays knight c7, check, king b1, rook d8, queen e6, check, king h8. And now he plays b3. This was maybe not the best move. Maybe he should have pushed the pawn on the edge, as I told him afterwards, to try and get the king here. But nonetheless, logical move. Hikaru, you're 2-2. Hans is 0-6. Hans is 0. Who has Hans helped that is lost? He helped. Who did he help? He's helped Slicker, who's 0-2. He's helped Slicker, and he's helped E-Rob. Who else has he helped? That's only 4. Oh, he helped Ludwig. Oh, you're right. Actually, he did help Ludwig quite a bit. This is true. You're right, because Ludwig, he helped Ludwig more than I did. I only helped Ludwig for like one sort of brief lesson, and I think he helped Ludwig like many hours actually. So yeah. But Ludwig is going to be a very dangerous player in the consolation bracket. It's Ludwig. It's Ludwig, right? It's not Ludwig van Beethoven. It's Ludwig. He's here in America. He's American. He's not German, I don't think. So it's Ludwig. Okay, so king h8, b3, rook c8 played. Now check, king g8. Thank you to MLEX for the 2 months as well. So h4, g5 takes. Sorry, Ludwig is French? What? Ludwig's not a French name. He's... What? I mean, he's like, he's got to be like Scandinavian or something of origin, or German. I mean, that's not a French name. Okay, so takes. And actually, at this point, I was kind of surprised, because here Janet had much more time. She had 4 minutes against 1 minute, and at this point, she should have tried to keep pieces on the board and attack. Instead, I think at this point she was already feeling like she was lost in the game, and she saw that NymN did not have a lot of time, so she tried to move fast, and unfortunately, she kind of just ended up blundering all her pieces here, and then the rest is pretty straightforward. No need really to go through it. Rook g7, rook h7 takes, and queen f3, and now takes, makes a check. And here, one thing I would add that's important here is NymN plays rook e8, which is winning, but the very clean way to win is just make the check, queen supports the rook, and you cut both ranks. So king can't come forward, king goes back. So now you keep pushing the issue. The queen supports the rook, king can't come forward, queen checks the king goes back, and now you make a check, queen supports the rank, and it supports the rook. King has to go back, and then you bring the queen up. Queen and rook just working magic miracles here. King goes back, and then you move the rook up. Queen cuts the square, rook attacks the king, and again, no way to come up with your king, and it's just a forced checkmate. So this would have been very nice. The stairway to heaven. Yeah, this actually, I was hoping NymN would do this, because it's very instructive, very straightforward. He found a different way to win, but it was still good enough. Check goes here, and then queen f8 and queen h6, and again, same kind of checkmate with the queen and the rook, and the king can't ever come to this side of the board, so it's just completely winning for white, or checkmate rather. And with that, NymN wins the game, moves to I think 6 points as well, if I'm not mistaken. I'll get a graphic in a second. Or what's wrong one? Anyway, yeah, so basically with this, NymN wins the game, moves to 2 out of 2, 6 points, along with forsen. Or forsen was on 3 points. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And very clean win. I feel bad, of course, for Chocobars, much like I feel bad for Slicker. Both of them have lost 2 games, but they both had some chance in their game, so it's pretty. So they've had chances. Thank you to Kinda Pink Jake for the 1,000, or Pink Jake, sorry, for the 1,000 bits. Thank you to thank you to Nobadig for the Prime 5-head serve for the 2 months. Thank you so much, appreciate it. So yeah, so basically with this win, he moves to 6 points. So let's move on to the second game, I guess, which is the game between forsen and ItsSliker, I think is his name. Let me see if I've got that right. Right, let's move to this game between forsen and Slicker. Forsen should have practiced more. Yeah, I mean, I think you can make some argument that he should have practiced more, but again, I thought he got a good position. He got a decent position out of the opening phase of the game, so I was very happy that he got something decent. So he played e5, knight f3. Now I played d6 here. Now this makes me wonder what Hans NymN was showing Sliker, because playing pawn to d6 here is very it's a reasonable move, but it's a very dangerous opening to play at a beginner level, because what happens is you neglect your development by a move, and now if white brings the bishop out, you're already in a lot of trouble here, because if you bring this knight out here, I bring the knight, and immediately you're under pressure. Your king is in deep trouble here. Sliker denied my help at the end. This was all him. Well, I mean, Hans, you just got to talk less, dude. So anyway, Sliker plays bishop to e6 here. And now bishop takes bishop, pawn takes bishop. Pawn to d3 was played by forsen, trying to develop very solid move. Bring the knight out, bring the bishop out, and just castle your king. Sliker plays d5 here. Pawn takes pawn. Now, much to Sliker's credit, he takes with the queen and not with the pawn. So if you capture with the pawn, white just captures on e5 here. So queen takes. Knight to c3 is played, and now Sliker goes queen d8. Unfortunately, not the best move here. I think a better move would have been queen to d6, support the pawn, and now after white castles, you bring the knight for extra support on the pawn. The pawn is supported by both the knight and the queen, and then when white develops, you can just castle your king out of the center and finish your development by bringing the knight and the bishop and the kingside rook into it. Okay, let's keep going. So queen d8 is played here. Knight takes e5, played by forsen. Now bishop to b4. Thank you to Frost Dibs for the prime. Appreciate. Queen h5 played here. G6. Knight takes g6. Attacking the rook here. Very nice trick, by the way. Absolutely smooth as silk. Really good idea here. Forsen sees immediately all these like right triangles and all these various combinations that just win. So g6. Knight takes pawn. Pawn takes knight, now queen takes rook. And at this point, forsen was already winning the game quite cleanly. Up a rook for a knight with a bunch of pawns as well. So now king d7 is played by Sliker. Queen g7, another very nice move by forsen, attacking the pawn, attacking the knight and the king at the same time. Knight e7, bishop to g5. Another excellent move, pinning the queen, and now you can castle your king either way. Get the rooks to the center of the board, and just extremely clean play here. So queen g8, forsen checks, another very good move. Knight d5 and castles. I really think forsen is going to win this game. Or win this tournament. I think forsen definitely could win. I don't think it's clear cut who's going to win at the moment. I think all players have a shot though. I would say forsen, Hutch, Voyboy, and boxbox are my top four. I'm a little bit worried for boxbox because I feel like boxbox, under some of this pressure, this lighter pressure, I would say, since we're in the bracket stage, I feel like he's made some mistakes, and I'm a little bit worried that when the real pressure is on, he might make more mistakes. So I think if boxbox needs to take some deep breaths, just relax, stay focused, and good things will happen. But he needs to not get stressed, because when he's not stressed, he's playing very good moves. So knight c6, queen g4 played, bishop takes, pawn takes. No, it's not that he's a choker. I think it's just the pressure. I mean, let's be serious. Like, you're playing in front of 100,000 people. Like, it's not a joke. Like, I don't know. I feel like when you're playing League, even in competitive, it's not in front of 100,000 people. So knight takes pawn. Rook to e1 played here. Only 100,000. Yes. So rook to e8 played. Bishop to d2. Another excellent move by forsen. Removing this knight so that you can push the pawns in the center and try to attack here. Queen h8. Queen takes g6. Now knight to e7 is played. Unfortunately, a tough move. It's what? No, but I mean live. Is it? I don't mean internet. I mean live. Chat. I'm talking about live. I'm not talking about like on the internet. I'm saying in the live stadium. I'm not talking about on the internet. Of course, more people watch on the internet. But I mean like in the actual stadium. Does boxbox? I mean. It's still more? Okay. All right, fair enough. Okay, so king d8, rook b1, whatever. Oh, boxbox is not a pro player? Okay. I thought I mean, I know he's great with Riven. He's not... Okay, he's not a pro, all right. Rook b1 here. Knight takes rook. This was actually a big mistake by forsen here, bringing the rook over to b1. Bishop g5 is probably winning the game here because of where the king, the rook, and the knight are. So he goes rook to b1. Knight takes, rook takes. Okay, he's a good player, but not pro. Okay. So queen g8. Now forsen takes. He takes the pawn. Sliker plays rook to e2 here, attacking the bishop. Not a pro, but he's very good. I mean, I knew he was very good. I wasn't sure if he was a pro. All right, so rook e2 played. Now forsen checks, and here Sliker missed one chance. He played knight e7. What he needed to play was king to c8 to attack the rook, and now it's very important that white goes rook to b1 to bring the rook in. People can make more money and less stress by streaming rather than playing. Okay, I'll talk on that topic myself very shortly in regards to that, but let's keep going. So Sliker missed this move. He played knight e7. Now king f1 to attack the rook to e5. King f1, very important move, by the way, to avoid the potential ice skater here. Rook e5 takes, rook e7, rook takes a7. Now king d7, and at this point really not much commentary is needed here, because everything that forsen did was more or less perfect. I mean, the one mistake was that he did this without realizing that when you get the pawns and the rook connected like this, you can push the pawn, and then when you take, you connect the pawns, and then you bring the rook up on your next turn. So you can basically do the march of the pawns and the rook all together with like perfect symmetry. So instead he does this. Sliker misses it, and now the rest is pretty straightforward. To his credit, I will give forsen credit. He did not try to BM here. He just was very clean, very professional about the victory. None of this NymN stuff with like the 20 queens or the 20 rooks on the board. Just very professional and just cleaned it up really fast. Just queen e1, and this was checkmate, because the king can't go anywhere. So very nice win for forsen in this game. Not a whole lot to go over, obviously, you guys. But yeah, it was just a very clean win. There was no point. I mean, I'm not gonna go over the whole thing. Oh, NymN only did that because Sliker didn't resign. Okay, fair enough. But very clinical win by forsen. Very impressive win, proving that he is one of the clear favorites in the event. So I was very impressed by forsen's play today. Just very smooth, for lack of a better word. So forsen used to be yeah, I know forsen always used to BM in Hearthstone. Yes, that I actually knew. I did know that. Oh, and it's true, actually, Sliker did offer NymN a lot of draws, didn't he? That's actually, yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a good point, actually. So I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, forsen wins the game, moves to 6 points, 2 wins out of 2. And let me just pop up the graphic while I'm at it. So here are the standings now as they stand right now. There you guys go. I'll make it a little bit bigger so it covers this part of the screen. So here are the standings, you guys. So at the end of 2 rounds, I think in every single group now, if I'm not mistaken, you have Voyboy on 6 points, you have Nate Hill and Fuseli on 3 points, and you have E-Rob on 0 in Group A. Now, it's worth noting in Group A, Fuseli and Nate Hill do play in the final matchup, I believe, tomorrow. So the winner of that game will be qualifying for the champions bracket. The loser will be playing in the consolation bracket. So very big matchup between Fuseli and Nate Hill. In Group B, you've got Hutch on 6 points, and then you have Moist Critical and Yasuo on 3 and XQC on 0. Moist Critical and Yasuo will be playing against each other. So again, the winner of that match will go on to the champions bracket. Loser will be in the consolation bracket. Very tough matchup. I feel like Yasuo has improved a lot. Moist Critical has also been putting in a lot of time into chess. So both players are super hardcore about it. And that's going to be a fantastic matchup as well to see who makes it through. So let's move to Group C. In Group C, also not a lot of drama. You have forsen on 6 points, NymN on 6. They both go through. There could be some jockeying though, because again, who you play in the brackets will be determined by your seeding. So forsen and NymN play each other in the last round. Winner will get top seed. Loser will be second seed in the bracket. And then Chocobars and Sliker are both going to be in the consolation, but they do play each other, so that also is a game where it could matter in terms of who they play in Group D. So let's move on. Group D, again, no drama there either. You have Papa Plata on 6, you have boxbox on 6, and then you have Ludwig and Swiftor on 0. There could be some drama in the game between Ludwig and Swiftor based on the fact that Group D will play Group C. So if we look at the current standings, the way that it would work, oh, and you guys are right. The group winner does get $1,000 on top. So yeah, so I'm predicting the winner in, I think, yeah, so forsen and NymN are playing for 1,000 pebbles, right? So there is some pride. They're also both from Sweden. So there's that's gonna be a fun matchup for sure. So okay, let's take a look. So if the standings are as they are, I'll look at losers bracket first. Fusli would be playing against XUC. The top player in the constellation plays the bottom player in the next group. So winner or third in Group A plays fourth in Group B. So Fusli would play XQC. E-Rob would play Yasuo, and then in Group C and D, Chocobars would play Swiftor, and Ludwig would play ItsSliker. So that's how it would work in the constellation bracket. A lot is up in the air, of course, in Group A and B. You have the matchups between the two people on 3 points playing each other. So that's what it is. All right, and then if we look at if the standings hold as they are right now, it would be Voyboy against Moist Critical in Group A and second place in Group B, and then Nate Hill versus Hutch, and then forsen against boxbox and Papa Plata against NymN. I don't think that's going to happen because I do expect boxbox to beat Papa Plata in the final matchup and overtake him for the top spot in Group D. But again, anything can happen. So a lot going on, but I think tomorrow and the next day we will find out who is making it through to the to each bracket for sure. All right, so I think that's pretty much the commentary for today. I mean, there were only 2 games. Were there 2? No, there were 3 games today. Sorry. So tomorrow there will be 2 games and 3 the following day. When am I getting a haircut? I'm not getting a haircut for a while. I don't want to risk picking up COVID, honestly. As I've mentioned before on stream, I did have a very bad case of pneumonia several years ago. So I have to be a little bit safe in regards to that. So let's get back to the game, do the analysis. All right, so let's look at this game between the third and final game, you guys, between boxbox and Swiftor. So okay, so yeah, chat MOR is 4,900, yeah. Yeah, so E4, E5, knight C3, knight F6, and now G3 is played by boxbox. Very yeah, I'll talk about competitive versus streamer, obviously. So G3 is played here by boxbox. So now G3, bishop C5. This is called the Vienna opening. And what I was going to point out with boxbox, one thing that I really like is the lessons he took with Gotham Chess. He was playing these same structures. So for example, I think versus Sicilian, he was playing this, and he's going G3, bishop G2, D3, knight E2. Very traditional, very straightforward. So therefore, against E5, it makes sense. Why not play the same setup? So knight F3, knight C3, knight F6, and now G3 here. Trying to fianchetto the bishop and bring the knight out. Put the bishop, sorry, in the hut or the hat or the sniper's nest or whatever everybody calls it. Bishop C5, knight G2. Very, very big mistake by boxbox. Objectively, the position is still okay, but the order is wrong because first you want to develop the bishop, then bring the knight. My hut. Yeah, totally. Y'all know the terms much better than I do. Y'all be tripping. Okay, so why am I doing that accent? I don't know why I'm speaking like a southerner now. Anyway, okay. Bishop C5. Now knight E2 is played by boxbox. Y'all be infecting me, man. Y'all be infecting me. Okay, so bishop C5. Knight G2 is played here by boxbox. Bishop G2 would have been a better move, but he plays knight G2, D6, bishop G2. Damn right, brother. Yeah, totally. America. Here in America with our fried chicken. Okay. So bishop to G2 played here. Bishop G4. Now, one thing is, the reason that this is wrong is first you should move the bishop, because then the effectiveness of this move is lost, because now you castle the king out of the center and you support the pawn on F2. Fried chicken and beer. Yeehaw. Okay. So boxbox plays knight G2 here. Now D6 is played by Swiftor, and now bishop to G2, bishop to G4, H3, bishop H5, castles here, or sorry, G4 first. Very good move by boxbox. Bishop G6, D3, knight 6, and now he castles. Pretty good start for boxbox. He's got a good center. He develops his knight, his bishop, and his king here. At the same time, he wants to basically play in the center as much as he can. Castles, king h2, good move so that you can push the pawn without inting. Well, as I was pointing out on the stream, one thing that's really nice is that the chess devs and chess as a game don't allow you to blunder your king, so you can't go pawn f4 and then hang your queen and just lose immediately. So king h2, a5, f4 played here. American beer is nothing against German beer. Yeah, I mean, I've always liked like a good Franziskaner. Like I've always liked a good Franzis. I can't even pronounce it now, but a good like Franziskaner. Like I've always been a fan of that specific beer. So b5 is played here by Swiftor. Probably it's better if he trades the pawns, but he goes b5 and now f5. Yeah, I mean Hefeweizen is obviously like I love Belgian beers too, but I don't really drink beer that much anymore. So b5, f5 is played here by boxbox, trapping the bishop on this diagonal here towards the bishop.
I'll tipped $5. Thanks, buddy. I'm one of those 50-year-olds that watch you.
Awesome, that's great. What I mean, that's awesome, man. That's great. People of all ages can watch chess. So b4, knight d5 trade, knight d4. Now boxbox takes correctly, and at this point, I felt the boxbox sort of it got a little bit out of tune with the way to play here. He plays bishop e3. What he should have done is, since he's so far ahead in development, is simply trade the knights off first and then try to finish the development of the bishop to queen and bring his rook into the game. Instead, he goes bishop e3. Now queen h4 is played here, and now he goes pawn to c3. Pawn takes, knight or queen g4. Sorry, and actually, chat. This is where, even though it's winning for black. Or winning for white rather, there was a big opportunity here for Swiftor to trade the rooks, and after bishop f1, knight f3, I'll talk about their attitudes as well after the game. King g2, now you lose, takes, king here, queen to f2, king e4. Now black has the incredible move, bishop to h6 here, and there's a simple checkmate. You can't defend it. A queen e3 next move. People are saying that boxbox played a cheater. I'll get to that as well. Let me open a notepad. Let's open notepad. Let me make a list. Okay, boxbox check last game. I need to cover, what else do I need to cover? I need to cover streaming versus professional. What else? There was something else someone said. What else do I need to cover? There's one other thing I think that I need to write down. Notepad. Yeah, I'm using Notepad, you guys. I'm using Notepad. I thought there was one other thing that I need to talk about after. Oh, attitude, right? Attitude of streamers in interviews. Right. Okay, that's three things that I'm doing the Devin Nash, or I'm literally making my notepad of notes, and I'll get to those after I look at the game. Okay. So after Bishop Notepad in 2020. Yeah, exactly. Notepad in 2020. Thanks. But yes, I made a list of three things, so I'll talk about them afterwards. So anyway, white's checkmated here because you have to move the queen to stop this check. If you push, I go here, GGO, and when you go here, I gobble, and you lose the queen. So okay, so this would have been a big opportunity. Instead, Swiftor played queen takes g4, and now after pawn takes queen, unfortunately, white is simply winning here. White is up a queen, and he's up a knight as well. So I mean, the rest of the game pretty clean, nothing special. He goes check, king h8, rook f8 with checkmate, and the king is back. It's a back rank checkmate. Also, it is also now considered the patented ice skater, new term coined by Felix himself. So anyway, this is checkmate, and boxbox wins the game. He also moves to 6 points, or 6 points as well. Last game he plays against Papa Plata, big matchup. And I think boxbox is going to win, but no one knows for sure what the final results will be. So yeah, so this was the third and final game of the day. Sorry that I missed this earlier, but just a quick little recap of the game itself. So with that, boxbox clean win. He has a shot to go perfect in the bracket against Papa Plata in the final game. Someone says Scar is live. I'm a little bit tired, honestly. I am a little tired. I'm not going to stop the stream. I mean, we've only been live for 1 hour, but I am a little bit tired, so I don't have a whole lot of energy. I feel like I'm a little bit low on energy. So let's get to the topic. So first things first, let's check the boxbox game. Okay, let's look at the boxbox game. This was against Pimheister, right? Is this the game? Pimheister? Okay, let's take a look. Okay, d4, d5, standard. c4 takes, standard. It's here, standard, standard. Okay, standard.
Magnus Wire tipped $5. Hi Hikaru, I've been having a very difficult time with depression and loneliness during lockdowns, and your streams have reinvigorated me and give me a little bit of joy every day. Thank you for everything you do and helping me rediscover my love for chess.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Actually, thanks to G-Funks for the $5 tip. Thanks for the 5 subs as well. Really appreciate it. Thank you to, thanks to G-Funks for the 10, sorry. Thank you to Taewon Tank for the $5. Thank you to Minberry Crunch for the Prime. Yeah, 10 Tank, as far as DMCA goes, I'm informed of the situation, and so I am aware of it. Thank you to Kamikaze for the $5. A legitimate question: you've been playing chess for so long on the highest level. Are you still improving as a player? The improvements you don't really see in general. It's more like preparation. So the improvement in terms of the knowledge base doesn't really change. It's more in like the general little stuff you do to improve. Thank you to Dimichi for the tier 1. Thank you to Renaissance Man for the gifted sub. Thank you to Lin Kansan for the prime. Thank you to Nogi109 for the 5 gifted. Thank you so much. Thank you to Heap of Cats for the tier 1. Metalit Swag for the prime. 2S Compliment for the 2 months. Hikaru. Thank you so much. Thank you to Z-Knuckle for the prime. Ruby Close for the 100 bits. Jacob97PY for the 2 months. Mr. McSmush for the prime. Urine 3 with the prime. Imploded with the prime. Ryan Vigila for the 14 months. Stone 6 for the 3 months. Dylan NOC for the prime. Carsick with the prime. Sphinx number 9 with the prime. Thank you to I'm So Bad at This Game for the 5 months. Thank you to Mingu82 for the prime. Thank you to Magnus Weirod for the 5. Thank you so much. Stay strong, my man. It's we're gonna get through this time sooner or later. Thank you to Dracinis for the 2 months. Thank you to Vanders for the prime. Thank you to the Shrug for the prime. Dancewood for the prime. Nikon for the prime as well. Thank you so much. But yeah, it's all gonna be good, you guys. We'll get through this. But I am worried about the future. I definitely have concerns. Okay, so let's look at boxbox's game. Okay, so A3 takes knight F6. Bishop D3, castles here, standard. Okay, standard. Okay, that's a weird move, kind of. It's strangely best. Okay. That's, I don't know, that's kind of a weird move, but nothing weird. Takes. Wait, what is it? Oh, wait a second. I don't think this guy is cheating, you guys, but this feels a little bit like smurfing in a way, kind of. I don't know. This feels like smurfing to me. I don't know. Rook E6 is a very weird move. This feels like a bit of a smurf, maybe. The guy's not using an engine, but this is kind of a smurf. This is what like I would do. This is like what I would do if I was playing like and I was 1200. I would totally play Rook E6 and be like, yo, I'm gonna push my pawn, and you're gonna think you're winning, and then you're losing. It feels like a smurf. It doesn't feel like a cheater to me. It feels like a smurf, a guy who's better than 1200. There's no way at 1200. Yeah, this guy's a smurf. 100% smurf. Total smurf. But he's not a cheater. It's a total smurf. All right, so that's that. Let's keep moving along. So what else do we have? Okay. All right, that's one thing off the agenda. Let's keep moving on. Attitude of streamers in interviews. Right. So on the next topic, I would say I'm really very, very pleased by what I've seen. The number of people who are just like having a great time doing the interviews and not feeling embarrassed. It really is amazing. You see like Swiftor, very new to the game, very positive attitude, having a lot of fun with the game. And I feel like everyone's been like that. He's been like that. I feel that like XChocobars has been really great. I've seen some of her interviews. She's just been fantastic as well. Even E-Rob, I feel like even though he lost, I feel like he's kept a generally an okay attitude as well. So I feel like everybody's been pretty good. Slicker, of course, is just Slicker. He's got the whole trash talk vibe going. But definitely great to see Slicker. But I feel like everyone's just having a good time. Even if they're losing, there seems to be a certain level of respect in most cases. Between the various players. So I'm very happy to see the attitudes. I think one of the things to me that really matters is that players do not get embarrassed. Like you don't want players losing in 6 moves. So that's what I would say. As far as XUC goes, I think you have to cut him some slack. He obviously had a very unfortunate second game. And I think, I mean, he's going to have a shot in the consolation bracket to possibly win it all. So XUC's checkmate was the number 7 clip all time on Reddit. Yeah, that's, I mean, unfortunate, but you know, what can you do? At any rate, though, the attitude has been amazing. Everybody's just been having a great time. So I think that's what you want. You don't want people to be in a bad mood, feeling like they're just losing games without having a shot. And so yeah, I think it's been great to see the attitude that everyone has had. Now, moving on to the other topic that everyone wants to hear about, which is streaming versus professional. So this is a very interesting topic to talk about in the standpoint that I've been a professional chess player for many, many years now. I would say I've been an elite chess player, one of the top in the world, probably since about 2010. I haven't had a chance to get back into the top 10 players in the world due to COVID. But I would say around 2009, 2010 is when I started breaking in. So more or less the last decade or so, I've been one of the elite chess players in the world. And so I've traveled a lot, played a lot of tournaments, had a lot of great experiences, met many tremendous people. But I will say that when you do travel a lot, you play in these competitions, it does start to wear on you at a certain point. And I don't know if League is necessarily the same way as stop streaming. Never. I will never stop streaming. You guys give me more than enough inspiration. I will never stop streaming. Like, I'm sorry, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So yeah, so what I was gonna say was when you travel for like so long competing, like it wears on you. It's like I'll give you an example. What's a good example? I'm trying to think of a last round game where there was a lot of money on the line in a tournament. Well, I mean, there are many examples like that. Think of cooking cards for the Prime, Flanders for the 2 months, Seaweeds for the Prime. But as an example, let's say I play X tournament, and this last round game, I'm playing it. If I lose the game, I'll make 10,000 stones. If I win the game, I'll make like 50,000 stones. And if the game is a draw, I'll make 15,000. Okay. So as an example, just to give you guys, so it's very stressful when you play a tournament. Obviously, it's many. Turn on some music. Okay, you guys want some music too? Okay, I'll give you guys music. Just talk, no music, fine. Okay, no music. All right, fair enough. So as I was saying, like when you play over 2 weeks and every game is fraught with a lot of stress and tension, like you make one wrong move, you lose the game. That affects your world ranking. It affects your standing in the tournament, and your earning potential as well in the tournament. So when you look at that from that standpoint, then you have to do that for 2 weeks. And then the last round game, you're in a situation nonetheless where, you win the game, you'll make 50,000 stones. You lose the game, you'll make 10,000 stones. And if you draw the game, you'll make 15. Like it really, like the stress adds up over time. And when you're doing that year in, year out, not even year in, but every single tournament, like it does take a toll on you mentally. I mean, it takes a big toll on you. And of course, your nerves get shot. So yeah, and when you compare that with, say, streaming, for example, where it's much more chill, but I still play a lot of competitive games, even on the internet. I mean, it's a balance, but I think certainly streaming is a lot more relaxing, and when you've been doing that for so many years, it does take a toll on you. And so for me, they're very different, but I really do like streaming as well because certainly you really look stressed. Yeah, I look super stressed. But yeah, I would say it's a fine mix, and I will always love competitive chess tournaments. But certainly, when you do that every tournament, you do that year after year after year. It is very stressful. It's very stressful, you guys, because it is your living. It's how you're making how you can afford to eat. So yeah, have I considered streaming games other than chess to stop possible burnout? I will be doing more streaming of other games over time, but again, I do have another chess tournament coming up in about a week and a half as well. Have I ever had a minimum wage job? That's an interesting perspective. No, so okay. I mean, I generally don't like talking about these broad topics that can turn into stuff like that, but I do not. However, I will give you guys an example. So I do have relatives in Central California. I'm not going to say where. But I have relatives in Central California where they are living on a couple $100s a month. So I do have relatives where they have to live on like $300-400 every single month. That's all the money they have. That's all the money they have per month, period. End of story. So this is all the money they have. And when you look at it from that standpoint, like I go to visit them, and when I go visit them, actually, you guys, not Bakersfield, no, not Bakersfield or Ridgecrest, no, that's my grandmother. But when I go visit them, like I always make it a point that I take them out. I take them out to go eat, because when you have that little money coming in, you can't go out and eat. You can't. There's not a lot you can do. You stay at home all the time, and you go live on like canned food and the basics. So so the point that I'm trying to make is, so like when I go visit them, I always make it a point to try and take them out to dinner, because I mean, I've been very lucky in my life. I've made a good living. I can afford it. So I totally should do that. So I've never worked like a minimum wage job, but I do, having direct relatives who have to live on so little money, I'm very well of the perspective that it's very difficult. And beyond that, like, I won't tell you the city. I think someone in chat already figured out where it is. But I remember there was one time that I went out for dinner with them. I forget what the restaurant was. Doesn't really matter. But I went out to dinner, and I paid at the end, of course, because I should. So I paid at the end. I remember the waitress there. She looked at the card. It's a Chase Sapphire Reserve card. And she looked at the card and she's like, "Wow, I've seen ads for this card. I hope that one day I can have a credit card like this as well. I hope that I can have a credit card like this." And so again, this is sort of putting it all in perspective. When you have these, when you actually have these opportunities to go be around people from a much different background, like it really does put it in perspective. It's not about flexing, you guys, but I think this is why it's very important, not political, but it's very important that you do know people, or you are exposed to how the other half lives. Because if I go to New York, you guys, like if I'm in New York City, for example, everybody there is rich. Everybody I know is in finance, or everybody has a job that pays 250 grand a year. So when I'm in New York, it's like the people there, it's different. Everybody's rich, everybody's doing well, and it's just, your perspective gets completely warped. Whereas when you actually know people who do not come from great means, do not have great means, it really does make it where you understand what a struggle it is. So that's like, I think it's very important that you do have the whole picture. And I'm very lucky that I do have relatives. I mean, it's difficult, but I'm lucky that I do have relatives, so I do see the perspective, and I always try to help them out. But again, like, it's not a joke. There are people who, not everybody has it great, and so you have to be very grateful for everything you have. I mean, because when I go to New York, I mean, it's just like anyone who goes to New York, you see, it's like literally you feel like money grows on trees in New York. So yeah, so I'm very aware of how lucky I am, both playing chess and even streaming. Just all the how fortunate I've been, because there are many people who do not even have such opportunities in life. To put it simply. All right, thank you to Relaxing Yoga for the Prime. Thank you to Dr. Chess Gremlin for the gift of sub to Half Lord Julius. Thank you to Chess Gremlin for the gift of sub to Fiero Robert. Thank you to ATP Canada for the 2 months. Malice W for the Prime. Rock Intensity for the 2 months. Dr. Chess Gremlin for the gift of sub to LTD Monster 2. Dr. Chess Gremlin for the gift of sub to DiCaprio. Olele for the tier 1. Insane Slow with the Prime. Carosa 07 for the Prime. The Cooking Cardsman. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate it. And So yeah, I mean, that's all I'm saying is, like, I've never worked a minimum wage job. However, I will add one thing that I did do. It was very brief, but I because I was homeschooled in high school, one of the requirements to graduate was that you had to do X amount of hours of community service. I mean, I know that sounds really weird to people, but I had to do community service as part of the, like, getting the GED equivalent, whatever it is, and so one of the things I did was felon. Yeah, felon, exactly. No, I think it's great though. I think it's fantastic. But what I did was actually I did a Habitat for Humanity. I think it was for like a week and a half or 2 weeks. And just doing something like that as well, like, you really get a perspective. Like when you're doing stuff that helps other people, it's one of those things where I'm a confirmed felon. Exactly, chat. But yeah, I think it's great to do things like that. I mean, I haven't done it in Florida, but I wouldn't mind going to like one of the soup kitchen's the wrong word, going to one of these places where like you can go and help out people who are homeless or things like that. Because I've always been a big believer in community service. And I think certainly if you're fortunate enough, you should always help out people who are less fortunate. Cut out the bull crap and play chess. Well, dude, you can just go leave the channel if you want to be a dick. You don't have to stay and watch. So yeah, thank you to there's me being like, yeah. So thank you to Jake12756 for the Prime. Thank you so much, appreciate it. So yeah, I will challenge some people to play some Blitz. Let's challenge Big Fish at maybe 960 as well in case he wants to play. But yeah. So I've never worked a minimum wage job, but I mean, I am very well aware of how difficult it is for a lot of people.